Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Kelly Clarkson. This is Make Your Day Richer. Today, I'm joined by a tech titan and a passionate champion for literacy. David Chalk is a serial entrepreneur and AI expert who has an extraordinary journey from collaborating with Bill Gates and hosting a hit TV show for 12 years to battling dyslexia himself. Now he's pouring his vast experience and innovative spirit into Reading Road, a groundbreaking platform using advanced AI to address the alarming literacy crisis. David's here to show us how technology can unlock human potential and how every challenge is an opportunity for innovation. So if that sounds like a good show to you, click that like button, click that share button, and let's start the show.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
David, thank you so much for being here. It's nice meeting you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Now, I know you are part of the documentary, The Truth About Reading. Can you tell everybody what that documentary is about?
Yeah, the documentary explores the reading crisis in North America, that approximately 50% of all children do not succeed in learning to read between grades 1 to 3, which is the learning years for reading. Beyond grade 3, you read to learn. And that is usually due to neurodiversity, different wiring in the brain. But that isn't the problem. The problem is the way reading is taught. It's taught by rote memory and guessing. The brain is a pattern recognition machine. And the English language is actually a pattern, 26 symbols and 44 sounds. And if it was taught that way, most everyone would learn to read in a very short amount of time, but the system is too ingrained for change. There's a strong movement out there called the science of reading, looking to do it, but it hasn't had a lot of impact. So the documentary explored how challenging and the severe consequences to the economy and to people's lives. And I was one of those. As a child, I was destroyed. Self-esteem, shame, self-worth. And in the documentary, which I am not a part of, I was asked to be in it. They wanted an adult who would be willing to come forward and share to the world that he couldn't read and couldn't read all his life, and that they would use this methodology to teach that person live on camera. So that is the parallel track. And with that parallel track, I was tested prior to starting, and I was an elementary school level reader, even though I obviously have, language skills. And 11 hours into it, I could read at a post-university level. Shocking and hard to believe, but that is the truth about reading.
What did that feel like after 11 hours for you personally?
I can't explain it to you. I broke down on camera. I felt what was happening. To those that haven't experienced the shame and the torment, well, 150 million people in North America have been what I've been through, and that's where we're at right now. 2 million children a year graduate subliterate. And so for me, even though I had had success in my life, because I really pushed myself, realizing that this problem that I had had my entire life was truly not me. It wasn't a reading problem. It was a teaching problem. And it had profound impact, so much so that I have changed my entire life to developing a technology, an artificial intelligence technology that will encompass all the cognitive science. And I went very deep for a few years, truly understanding why did it do it? How could it be possible that it worked? And I discovered why. And I am now building a technology I'm calling Reading Road, and I'm going to be able to give it to most of the world for free.
Okay, so I want to talk about the AI thing, because I think it's been like an explosion in mainstream, but AI has been around forever.
Yeah, 50 years.
Yeah, right. And I want to hear how you got into that and what the plan is with that. How did you navigate life up until that until that moment? Like, I think when people think, oh, you don't know how to read, you're illiterate, like that, how do you function in the world?
That question often comes up. Yes, after high school, I was an airline pilot. I wanted to be an aerospace engineer. I've created numerous $100 million companies, and it has nothing to do with being able to read, because reading isn't about intelligence. Not being able to read is about not knowing the pattern code of reading and not fluidly being able to absorb words on a page. I could understand words. I could sound a way through a word like elephant or anti-disestablishmentarianism, but I could not focus on a page. And so they call that dyslexia. It is not not a cognitive difficulty. It's a label when children don't learn to read. Now, there is neurodiversity, which means there are problems, and I have them. I have ADHD, prosopagnosia, the inability to recognize the human face, and a whole bunch of other things. But reading, if it is taught differently, 95 to 99% of all children would learn to read within 1 year. And this is a travesty. It's egregious that things haven't changed. So my background, I got into technology very early on, and I realized that my brain really, landed on it. I started taking computers apart, and I built them, and I created many companies, software development, video online. I was a pioneer in cybersecurity, many of those. And then I got into artificial intelligence about 20 years ago, and I understood it and did some projects with it. But it wasn't until large language models, which is what we know as ChatGPT and many others, came onto the market. And for me, that was about 4 years ago. And I went, well, okay, so we have this reading problem, and the new AI is about language, and they've taught it the English language. It understands everything in the universe. And once I took that program, I said to myself, well, the part that was missing that the education system couldn't do, and I understand why. They can't give one-on-one instruction. So factors that I had: one-on-one instruction, sound to symbol training, which means only looking at the sounds and the symbols, not reading at first, immediate correction. So my brain wasn't going to wire wrong, that I was really leaning into it because it was exciting. And when those conditions are in play, the brain, in its cognitive way of functioning, which we call neuroplasticity, when we're born half-baked. Life experiences rewire our brain, and it can happen very quickly. If we have an incident happen in our lives that is traumatic, we never forget it. Wired right in. Learning to read, for most people, is not an exciting thing. And as soon as it doesn't work, we shut down. Now, the brain in its plasticity needs certain neurotransmitters. These are chemicals that get released in the brain: dopamine, adrenaline, and one very important one called acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is magic. It only gets released when the brain believes that what it is going to be taking in is going to help it. Now, hard to wrap our heads around that, but understand, if we're going to survive in the world, the brain is an instrument for protection. So when it's in a learning environment that it believes it's gaining and getting knowledge, this neurotransmitter is released, and we wire our brain that way, the same as we do in a negative situation, in a positive situation. Mm. So if we're focusing on, as I said, pattern recognition, they can put a man on the moon. We got 44 sounds and 26 symbols, and we got 150 million people who can't read. No, that's not right. So after doing that, I realized, well, with artificial intelligence, not the Chat GPT, and people worry. And I say, well, if you drive a Tesla, you're putting AI, your hands in the life of AI. If you have a bank account, it's got access to all your money. This is called narrow trained AI, specifically on sound to symbol, what's called the science of reading. Then trained on human understanding, empathy, facial recognition, those are patterns. Speech recognition, those are patterns. Eye movement, those are patterns. Body movement, those are patterns. When it is trained on that, we get the belief that it is actually aware. It is not. And I speak a lot on AI as people do get scared. And I want everyone to understand in this short interview that this is not AI to be afraid of. I've been doing this for years. But I still have to develop it, build it. I'm in the sort of prototyping, and all the testing has worked. But when a student or an adult or a child would be on a tablet and using it, the only thing they need to do is speak to it. It will understand where they are. It will meet them at their level, whether they're a 4-year-old or a 40 or an 80-year-old. It will then use the methodology that I was used to start communicating the sounds and symbols. A, B, K, S, D. Those are phonemes, they are called, and they are not words. As we start putting them together, we build words. And as we build a few words, we have a few sentences. The AI gives you sentences. You read the sentences back. It congratulates you. It builds up that you're doing well. Mild, tiny correction here. Now that acetylcholine starts to flow, the magic starts to happen. The dopamine is there. This is video games, why they are so addictive. We take the methodology called gamification theory, and we apply that to learning English. In about, for the average child, probably within about 15 hours, they're probably reading a few hundred words. And within 6 months, a 5-year-old could be reading at probably a grade 3 level. Now imagine what school would be like if the schools can focus on critical thinking, interaction, communications, and all the other subjects. You see, reading is not a subject, it is a skill. Chess, music, high action sports, you get trainers, you get one-on-one instruction, you get immediate feedback, you get empathetic understanding. Reading was not meant to be done in a classroom. And sadly, the result we have is what's called a reading crisis. And back to your first question, what is the documentary about? John Cochrane created it. He invited me on it. And it is about what happened in America to create a crisis for literacy.
Oh, such an important documentary. I remember when I was a kid, remember Hooked on Phonics? Like that was the way that kids who had difficulties reading.
And it wasn't the answer.
Right. Of course not. No.
No, I had it forced down me. I had other systems and methodologies like Wilson and Orton Gillingham. And yeah, there are people that use it, but I can fundamentally tell you that what happens in all of those, a loss of excitement and enjoyment, the brain shuts down. It doesn't. It is a machine conserving energy. If it does not want the information, it will shut down on it. And that is the despondence we see. It's a real thing. But when you learn to read, if you are taught the code, that is not, okay, good example. Can you imagine if I said to you, here's a song, play it on the piano. You heard it, play it, okay? Here's the notes, use the notes. Until I teach you the notes that are on the page and what key they respond to, you can't play the music. Well, there are 88 keys on a keyboard, and people learn to play the piano because they are taught music. They're taught the notes to read the music, and then they learn how to engage with the music. So for reading, if we teach the code and have them be able to almost subconsciously pattern recognition, word, 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 symbol, word, new word, different word. You don't have to learn what I remember the I before E, or two vowels go walking, or this letter can't, nothing to do with it. Our brains are incredible machines of pattern recognition. A good reader will tell you they don't read. They flow through the words and they absorb them. That is what reading is. And it only happens in about 20% of people. 30% of people are okay, and over 50% of people cannot do it.
Wow.
That's our world.
Yeah. So I like you were talking about with your AI project that it's not ready yet. So if we're seeing in our children, we're seeing in ourselves as adults, what do we do now until you're ready to help us?
You know, I've done a few podcasts because I'm not here to pitch my technology. It will be available. I still have to raise more money. Like anything, it costs money to build it. And I'm not here to raise money. It's called Reading Road, READINGROAD, and it's .ai because it will be AI. There's nothing there other than people can register to get it for free when I do have it available. What I will give you for an answer right now of what parents can do, and I know there are millions because I've done a lot of tours because of the documentary. What I'm going to tell you is going to be completely out of left field, but it is the thing that had me succeed with the inability to read, and that is love your children more than you ever thought you possibly could, and do not judge them, and do not lose hope, And do not believe what you are told by the education system. I was put in a school for those that could not and would not learn. My mother got me out. I had a sanctuary at home with her. When I got home, we played games, we drew, we painted, we did activities. She didn't judge me. She would always accept whatever happened to me. And I'm telling you, factually, if I never learned to read, or if I read even worse than I ever did, the fact that I was never judged at home, that I had unconditional love, and even though my mom was told a lot of bad things about me, she did not take them on. I've met many parents who say, I'm giving up hope. I've been told my child will never learn. And I say, well, you know what? They will learn, because that acetylcholine that I've told you about for reading, it's in everyday life. It is the thing that changes a human being. So what we want to do is set up an environment for them. And I'll give you a word that is the magic word. It's called flow. And flow is a place that we enter in our brain when our environment is safe, when we are comfortable, when the people around us are inspiring. And at that point, this is where we start to change and feel okay about ourselves. This flow is what athletes enter. Flow is what extreme sports people use. Fighter pilots, astronaut, everyone is taught flow at that level of expertise. But for the poor children that suffer in the education system, it never comes up. I would encourage every parent to look into flow and the magic conditions that are done neurochemically in the brain, and the absorption and the excitement and the passion. If they have children that want to play video games and they know how addicted they are to that video game, that is flow. That is flow somewhat out of control. As a parent, if we use the same structure of setting up flow, we will have a child who is engaged and positive and able to put up with the negativity that comes from the classroom environment when they can't read. So it's really two things: understand flow, getting your child into it, and give them more love than you ever thought possible.
Two very easy things when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't require my AI. My AI is just going to give them an advantage in life so that they can succeed in the 21st century.
What do you love most about your life right now?
I feel free. I had done many amazing things, built many companies, won many awards, all sorts of things, but I felt shame. I always had a feeling inside of me that I was going to be called out as a fraud, going to be told that I wasn't worthy of anything I did, and it held me back. I could have been far more successful than I was, but I always ran with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And when COVID hit, I had a major setback in business, as many people did. And I didn't know what to do. So I thought I would address the one thing: reading. And that is how the universe put me in touch with the documentary. And from there, that week, at the end of that week, my life was different. 2 years later, I had discovered the entire secret to reading. And over the last year and a half, I've put all of that together in a way that will completely transform education. It will be in the home, with the family, on a device or a computer or a tablet, safe, that the parents are in full control of, and full knowledge of exactly where their children are. No one can tell them their children doesn't know something, because they will have it on their screen every day, how far ahead they are, the words they're doing, how well they're doing, their engagement, their excitement, their passion. We will have all the psychological factors there for the parent as well too. So it's not a black hole. This is the parent knowing, my God, my child can learn to read. They are not incapable of learning. The block comes from the shutdown of reading, not uptaking.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your story, for doing this work, for building this community, and really talking openly about it. What's the best way that people can connect with you?
I have an open door policy on people reaching out to me, because I know there are so many that need help. I give my email address. I only have one, and this is my real one. It's my name, David Chalk. So David at Chalk Corp, part of the word corporation, David at chalkcorp.com. And if they want to register to be able to get this technology, which will be world changing, it is readingroad.ai. So I'm .com, and the application readingroad.ai. And I put it out there to parents: never give up, have faith, keep the hope, and know that if you can bring them to a state of comfort, everything that you ever dream of them being able to do, they will have, because we are wired in our brains to survive.
Please come back when you're ready to launch, because
Mhm.
I'd love to celebrate that with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
I appreciate it. David Chalk, ladies and gentlemen. Life is difficult. Are you feeling overwhelmed or like you could use a little support for your mental well-being? Visit the Help Hub. It's the most comprehensive and inclusive free online destination for mental health resources, helpful tools, crisis hotlines, and supportive content. Just go to thehelphub.co to find the resources you need when you need them most. Unlike other resource pages, the Help Hub is divided into 16 different categories, ensuring that everyone in every community has access to the resources and support that matches their unique needs. Find the help you're looking for at thehelphub.co. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, it's July 1st. Where did June go? I don't know. But I do know that June was our most successful month for views we've had. And I just want to, I need to show you this. Let's see how many views we've had. We had over, we had over 150,000 views in June, which brings our total to 576,971. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Thank you, everybody who watches, all the guests who come on, who share the show. I appreciate it so much. If you'd like to support the show yourself, buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/makeyourdayricher. It's a great way to help so I can continue to do this every Monday through Friday. There you go. That's our show. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.